Greetings to everyone. Welcome in. I hope you can hear me. So we are live on YouTube, we are live on Instagram, and obviously on Zoom. Welcome to each and everyone. Nice to see you all. Could you just type yes in the chat box if you can hear me all right? Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda. I appreciate that. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone on IG. Nice to see you. Hi, Amar. Hope you're well. So this session is really going to be about the upcoming program that we are offering, the 200 hours trauma-informed teacher training course. But I really want to get into the gist of what this is all about and why regular yoga is not really enough anymore for modern humans, so to speak, and why healing the nervous system through trauma-informed practice is really critical for the future of healing and future of yoga, not only just teaching, but taking yoga into a different dimension. So I just want to give a bit of a backstory about how I got into yoga. So I trained in a traditional way in an ashram, and later on I moved on to training with monks or yogis living in isolation, or hermits, so to say, living away from mainstream society. So that's how I started practicing and got trained in yoga for the initial years in my life. And when I got into yoga, my intention was never to teach yoga or to really start any kind of yoga center or anything like that. But as I was practicing, teaching became a natural thing. While I was practicing maybe outside at the beach or in the park or outside monasteries, I would see people gathering around me and sometimes following me or asking me questions. And eventually I just started teaching like that. And then from there on, I got into teaching at retreat centers and yoga centers and rehabilitation centers. And what I realized is the more I was teaching what I learned, I was leaving the people, the students that came through those places, striving for more or pushing harder or feeling anxious about certain poses or certain deeper pranayama practices. Because what I have understood is yoga was not developed for the urban society, urban stressed out society, going for work, raising family, having a modern education. It was really developed for ascetics and monks living in isolation to really dedicate their life for spiritual upliftment, spiritual cultivation. So when we bring that kind of tradition into a modern day setting, it becomes very difficult to get to the core or the essence of that practice, because the goal of yoga definitely is liberation from worldly sufferings. But most of the time, to get to that stage, you have to go through so many different levels, and just doing a practice once a week or twice a week at a yoga studio or a yoga center is not going to really benefit the students in that way. So it's just basically to create some sort of calmness and inner peace, and definitely to make the body feel better and more at ease. So that's where the yoga, the difference between the traditional yoga practice and the modern day yoga practice really is, because traditionally it was performed was not used as a performance, but more like a lifestyle. So people living in the jungle or deep in isolation had a lot of time to practice one pose maybe for 1 hour or two poses the whole day. And they would keep on practicing that different times of the day. That's what I experienced when I was living with monks in the jungle. And when we bring that kind of 90-minute or 60-minute flow into a gym or a fitness center, we really lose the power of that healing that is there when you hold certain postures or when you really get to the lifestyle of yoga. So what happens is yoga becomes more like a performance. So as a teacher, now that you are in a gym setting, maybe you have 90 minutes time. So you have to go through the whole flow without really paying attention to where the students are at, what their nervous system is like, what part of healing that they need, what kind of poses that they need. So especially this is very important when you have a big class, when you have more than a few students in your session. It becomes very difficult for the teacher to get through the flow in a more awareness kind of way, because it's more about completing the whole flow rather than like getting to the depth of the practice, getting to the core of each asana. So that's where it becomes a bit more important for us to really understand where this yoga comes from. Because when I was practicing, or when I was learning yoga traditionally with Indian ascetics masters, it's more about instructing you to do this. And the focus is basically about body flexibility, about discipline, about strength. And if you can't do certain postures, for example, if you can't get into some asanas, they would just forcefully instruct you to get to do it right according to the textbooks, and forcefully align you or correct you and forcefully bring your body into alignment. And sometimes that can feel a bit disempowering for a practitioner, especially for people like who are educated in modern way, who are living in a mainstream society. It becomes a bit difficult when you are disempowered like that, when you're not having your like right to choose if you want to do that pose or not, or if you want how you want to do that pose, and you are like sort of instructing you to do it in a certain way. And if you find it difficult, the instruction is mostly about just breathe through it. Don't think about it too much, just be disciplined and you'll be able to do that. So the goal is more about doing it right than really becoming aware of what is it doing to you? What is the healing that's happening? What is the space that you're creating within yourself when you're doing these postures, or when you're doing this meditation practice or the pranayama? So this is where, like, it's almost like you may have seen those kung fu kids in Shaolin monasteries. They're going through rigorous trainings from morning till night. Even if they don't want to, they are forced to do that to perform martial arts. It's more like a performance. There is no real stunts or fights or things happening right now, but it's more like a performance stunt. So in the same way, yoga has those roots as well. When you go back like less than 100 years, even some of the yoga styles that we have now was used as a performance at king's palaces or courtyards to show people what they can do, almost like acrobatics or gymnastics and different things like that. So there are so many different styles of yoga, and I'm not saying that is wrong in any way. It's just that it's different. It's not really addressing the need of modern day humans, because we live in a world of constant stimulation. We live in a world of stress, of chaos, of pressure. And when you want yoga to be sort of, most people come into yoga to heal. I got into yoga to heal myself, to heal my body, to reconnect with my body, my spirit, my mind. But when you take yoga into a performance style, you're just performing and not really healing yourself. And that's what has happened with many different styles of yoga, especially when you put yoga into like a fitness center or a gym. And when you have a group of students doing, it becomes more like a competition and a performance. Who can do better, and who can really, get the poses just right and things like that. So sometimes it leaves students and practitioners feeling like tired and striving to get to that perfection, rather than becoming more aware of what's happening inside them, the internal alignment that's being created when doing these practices. So it's very important to really differentiate what kind of practitioner you are and what kind of teaching that you can bring to impact the modern day nervous system. Because back in the day, the nervous system was not conditioned to this kind of trauma or stress. The yoga was developed assuming that these ascetics or monks and people living close to nature have a stable nervous system. Their nervous system is always grounded. There is not so much survival instinct. There's no so much survival mode always switched on. So when we bring this kind of ancient wisdom into a modern setting, sometimes those ancient roots has to be nudged or nurtured to evolve slightly. So when we stick to those traditions, we sometimes forget that what is really needed for modern day humans, because what we need right now is not performance. We are already performing so many different things in life. What yoga can really do is bring healing on a nervous system level, on a somatic level, not just with asanas, but with the whole structure, the whole system of yoga philosophy, breath work, and meditation practices, the whole structure. And it's definitely taken from like a grassroots level, but now it has evolved into a way that it's more like a performance, more for the visual, more for the physical side of things, and not really the meditative, the internal side of yoga. So why is this really important now is, if we want to become somebody or a teacher who wants to really impact the society, impact the world in a subtle, more holistic way, rather than just on a physical level, just like developing the body, just like a gym trainer or someone who runs a fitness center, you need to take yoga into empowering your students. You need to bring that yoga practice into empowering yourself, first of all, but also the people that you are associating with, the students that are willing to spend their time with you. Because otherwise, it's going to leave the students in a dysregulated nervous system, because they are coming into yoga for calmness and spaciousness and relaxation. But when you're striving so much to get these poses right, when you're striving so much to actually do these things perfectly according to textbooks, and then you're instructing them to do it right, instead of empowering them or tapping into that inner awareness that they can cultivate while practicing yoga, you are just playing into that power struggle, showing the same traditional way of teaching, like the master is telling you what to do and then the students have to follow that. And that system most of the time is not only harmful for the physical body, but can also be triggering dysregulated nervous system states in the practitioner, because the power of yoga is it amplifies whatever state that you are in. So when somebody is coming into the practice with a certain nervous system state, maybe it's a survival state of fight or flight, they're coming into the yoga practice with that kind of a nervous system state, and then you're taking the practice into your own way, expecting them to fit into your mold. That nervous system state is going to get more amplified. So when you leave the students in that state after the yoga practice, that system is not going to really regulate itself, because to regulate, you need structure, you need guidance, and you need safety. You need to create safety and choice within yourself. So as a teacher or as a guide, your duty is not to heal the nervous system, but just to lead the way so that the healing can happen when the student or the practitioner can actually feel safe in their own body and feel more awareness and more presence within themselves. So this is why trauma-informed approach in yoga is essential for modern day, because just going through a 60 or 90-minute flow without really paying attention to the collective nervous system of your students or the classroom can not only be dysregulating for yourself, but also doesn't take yoga into that next level of healing, next level of inner transformation. Because what happens is, when you have a practice session, when you have more than few people in a classroom, there is a collective nervous system at play. It's not just one person. So whoever is the dominant personality in that classroom, their nervous system is going to amplify, and then there's going to be a power struggle between the teacher and that dominant personality, and the rest of the students who have more subdued personalities just follow this practice, and now they have to try and push hard to do these poses, to do things right, instead of really zoning into their own practice, instead of really becoming more aware and present about their own body alignment and their breath and the internal ecosystem that they're creating while doing this process. So just let me know in the chat or comments, like if you have any questions, or if you have experienced this in your own way, in your own practice, or in your own teaching. If you have experience like someone instructing you or forcing you to do things, but you don't really want to do that, or you have experienced students coming into your class with different nervous system states, and then you have to sort of somehow bring the class into more balance. And what's your thoughts on that? Have you experienced that yourself? Let me know in the chat, because I would love to know. I want this to be more of an interaction rather than like me lecturing about something. Yeah, so this is what it's about. So many people are in different phases of healing. So in a traditional way, you instruct everyone to do the same thing. But from a modern trauma-informed approach, you're not instructing or correcting or really forcefully trying to bring the body into alignment. You are giving the students the opportunity to choose how they want to align themselves, because it's not an overnight journey. It's going to take time to do the poses exactly right, if that's your intention, if to do the poses perfectly. But more than that, doing poses perfectly, the intention of yoga practice is to self-regulate yourself. So the more and more you become empowered within your own body, the more safer you feel, the choices that you have when you know how to do these poses, but you do it in your own way anyway. So this is the best approach for modern day humans who are educated, who live in a stressed out world, who live in a dysregulated collective nervous system state. So the yoga practice, whether it's 60 minutes or 40 minutes or 90 minutes, doesn't have to be necessarily about completing a flow. It can be more about meeting the students where they are, rather than instructing them to fit into your flow or fit into your mold. Okay, so yes. So what is really this? What am I talking about? Trauma-informed yoga. So many people have this question: is this a different style of yoga, or what is it about? So just quickly, I just want to share. This is not a different style of yoga. You can be practicing any style of yoga. You can be practicing vinyasa style, ashtanga style, hatha yoga, or yin yoga, acro yoga, kinetic yoga, any different style of yoga that you want. But trauma-informed is an approach to teaching or facilitating a yoga class or practicing yoga. So it's a lens or a philosophy through which you recognize that how trauma and chronic stress or chronic anxiety lives in the body and our nervous system. So it's yoga taught and practiced with this awareness that everyone to some degree carries trauma and nervous system dysregulation in this current modern world. And safety and choice and empowerment are the foundations of somatic healing. So the body is not just performing different shapes, different postures. It's a way of communicating with the body, with the presence, with awareness, and it's a way of remembering the hidden parts of ourselves so that you can release them. So in a nutshell, trauma-informed yoga isn't about what poses you do. It's about how you create the space for those poses to become healing, regulating, and empowering for yourself. So for me personally, for years, I believe that if I just keep practicing more asana, more meditation, more discipline, I would eventually find the balance, or I would eventually perfect myself. But it came to a point where how much ever I practiced, something was not feeling right. It was maybe I was getting frustrated, anxious, or stressed out in other parts of my life. And yoga was, maybe during that time I was feeling calm after the pranayama meditation. But as soon as I finished that, the same emotions, the same stress, the same old patterns just keeps resurfacing in my life. And that's when I began to see in so many of my own students that people come to a class seeking peace. But when they're leaving, they are striving and thinking about how can I do that pose better? Or I did that better, or, I was not as good today. I didn't do yoga properly. I didn't do that posture correctly. And all these kinds of self-doubt and, self-questioning yourself, rather than accepting and embracing the holistic aspect of yoga. It's not just about doing things right. It's about, the feeling that you create within yourself, your awareness and the presence while practicing yoga. So because we are living in a constant stimulation, uncertainty, about life, finances, and all these different things, and constant emotional overload, our bodies are mostly in fight or flight or freeze or fawn mode. So even a small yoga session can really invite spaciousness and calmness and groundedness when you learn to adapt the practices according to different nervous system states. So that's when you don't have to instruct different asanas, but you can sort of invite your students to bring those asanas into more of a release, more of cultivating that spaciousness within themselves. So as a teacher or as a guide, your role is to demonstrate or make them feel a regulated nervous system, make them feel a grounded, calm, balanced state, because that is contagious. Your nervous system as a teacher or a leader or a guide is contagious to your students. So when you can demonstrate that kind of leadership, that's when you create a safe space for others to start the healing, to become more aware and to be more in that calm, grounded state. Because only from a calm, grounded state, you can amplify that calm, grounded state into other parts of your life. Like before I said, whatever state that you are in, when you're practicing pranayama, when you're practicing mudras, or when you're practicing meditation, even when you're practicing asanas, which is a form of mudras, you amplify whatever state that you're in. So as a guide, your role is to demonstrate that regulated nervous system state. So when it becomes contagious, all the students, all the others in your group feel that energy, and that gets amplified. So this is really what this trauma-informed approach to yoga is all about. It's not a different style of yoga. It's just a lens through which we can bring in that recognition or awareness that the body and the nervous system is carrying dysregulation or stored memories of stress and trauma. And each person is unique and different and needs different ways to empower themselves and bring safety into their body so they can move out of that survival state into a state of calm, balanced, grounded energy, which yoga has the power to do, because it was created for those ascetics and monks living in jungle who had a calm, regulated energy. And that's why there is this interest in yoga, because that's what they represented, and that energy is contagious. But to bring that energy into a modern day setting, you need to empower each one of us, each one of the students, yourself, to approach yoga not as performance, but more as a tool to self-regulate yourself, to self-regulate others in your community, in your presence, and to release those old traumas and stress through somatic movements, through somatic practices, using body movement and breath, because that's the power that yoga has. It is a holistic process of transformation, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, intellectually, and obviously spiritually. So we are starting this the trauma-informed 200 hours teacher training course on the 14th of November. It's going to be a 3-month program. Sorry, I'll just read this comment. Thank you, Mary, for your wonderful comments. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so we are closing enrollment in a few days. By the end of this week, we are closing enrollment and we're going to start the 200 hours, 3 months program. It's going to be online, or you have the choice to have a hybrid path as well. So most of the training will be online, and the last phase of your training will be an immersion at Hinterland village in Kerala. So this trauma-informed teacher training is going to be focused in traditional yoga styles of Hatha and Ashtanga style. But like I mentioned, it's not about, it's for every body type. It's not for someone who has experience in yoga. It's for everyone who has interest in regulating themselves, in healing themselves, and also passing on this learning, this knowledge to others, as a friend, as a guide, as someone who embodies that calm, grounded nervous system state. Yes, so someone is asking, I am still healing. Is this for me? Am I ready for this? I'm still healing. Am I ready for this? Okay. So yeah, everyone is healing. No one is not healing. Everyone who's practicing yoga, everyone who is striving or trying to put discipline into action is healing in some way or other. So when we wake up in the morning, when the healing is a lifetime process, I feel. So if you're healing, this is the best opportunity for you, because it's going to bring in the foundations for bringing that healing into the core of your being, really putting that healing into your core, into the center of your nature, of your personality. Like I said, it's a holistic transformation. So if you're healing, there is nothing that can disturb that healing process if you learn a more gentler, trauma-informed approach to that healing. Because when we are healing, sometimes we put pressure on ourselves to heal fast. Healing becomes an intense thing. Again, it becomes like too much of an intellectual process rather than an action-based process. Yeah, so we will be offering this course again, but the dates are not confirmed yet. This cohort is going to start on the November 14th, and it's going to be a 3-month program. And they're self-paced as well. There is going to be recordings of all the sessions. So even if you miss sessions, you will be able to easily catch up on them in your own spare time. The next cohort, we haven't announced the dates yet, so I don't know yet. So when we are actually healing, it's important to understand that healing needs to be a holistic approach. We have to put action to heal. We need to put focus into our healing, not focus into the why this is happening to me, or is this the right time, or maybe I'll wait for the future. Because healing is every moment. Healing is right now, right here. And we don't really have, when you think about it, we don't really have the future, or we cannot keep living in the past of why this happened to me, because healing is a moment-to-moment thing. And that's what this process is all about. This whole concept of trauma-informed approach to yoga, the whole holistic yoga personality cultivation system is allows us to come to the present moment. So whether it's releasing tension, releasing trauma and stress from the body, it's an action-oriented process, but it brings us right here into the present moment. When we are doing pranayama, when we are doing meditation practices, it brings us right here into this present moment. And that's where healing happens. Healing does not happen in like a future time. Healing is happening right here. Where our mind goes, that's where the energy, attention, and the life force energy goes. So healing is about cultivating that ability to be right here in the moment. So our life force energy, our life energy, vital force is not being drained in the future or in the past. It's right here for us to use for our healing. And that's the amazing magic of this yoga system. That's the magic of somatic body work. That's the magic of breath work, pranayama, meditation practices, yoga nidra practices. And all of this would be covered over these 3 months, starting from the foundation of asanas, foundation of yoga philosophies, into cultivating that ability to self-regulate your nervous system before you start to guide others, because you need to have your cup full before you can give it to someone else. You cannot pour out of an empty cup. So this is the whole process of this 3 months, to start from anywhere that you are, any state that you are in. Maybe you have been in burnout, maybe you have been stressed, anxious about life, or uncertain about future, about your job, career, all these kinds of things. You're still in that process of healing. When you say yes to this process, when you say yes to this kind of a program, you're already beginning that healing. You're already beginning that transformation. And this is what this program can really give you, because it's not straight away asking you to teach or guide a 90-minute flow. It's about, first of all, self-regulating yourself through consistency, through practice, through gently bringing your body to safety, your mind to more presence, and then slowly integrating that to share that information, share that knowledge, that embodiment with others. And this is the whole process. Thank you, Mary. We'll keep in touch. Thank you. So even if you don't plan to teach, okay, I don't plan to teach, should I still join? This is the question. Like I said, when I started this process, when I started this journey about 15 years ago, my intention was never to teach, but it happens naturally. And this is the whole process. You don't want to force yourself to be a teacher, but that teaching has to happen naturally from the way you live, from how you bring this practice into every moment of your life. So most of the students, I can say 60% of our students come for personal transformation, not for changing their career or teaching, starting their own yoga studios. It's not for that. 60% come for personal transformation, but eventually go on to teach, because you cannot remain as a seed. You flourish and you become a tree, and that tree gives shade and shelter to others. This is the embodied guide that you have the potential to be. You have the potential to be that tree from a seed. You learn these concepts, you practice that, you integrate that into your lifestyle, and without you realizing it, naturally that learnings you'll start to share, and that sharing automatically makes you a teacher. So this is the whole process of yoga teacher or yoga teacher training, not just straight away going into teaching in a studio or gym or fitness center, but integrating these aspects, especially this kind of a trauma-informed approach. It's more gentler. It's not like a fitness training or a gym session or a gym training. It's more like a holistic empowerment of your whole personality. So as you're empowering yourself, you can pass that light to others to empower themselves. And this is the way this program is set up, so that you can feel that in real time and you can share this knowledge with others in real time. So one more last question before we wrap up this call. Someone is asking why is it important to, okay, why is it that I should invest in trauma-informed yoga and not just like a hatha yoga or ashtanga yoga? Okay, this is a very interesting question, because nervous system healing doesn't happen by accident. You cannot forcefully meditate or forcefully bring your body to alignment and expect your nervous system to be regulated. You need to create safer approach to regulating your nervous system, and that does not happen just by accident. I hope I have explained this through this half an hour, that traditional styles of yoga is more about, it's not really about creating safety and choice for the practitioners or the students. It's really about completing a flow, focusing on flexibility, focusing on discipline. It's not really about empowering the student, the practitioner, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. It's not about creating that safe approach to understanding your body. So if you're doing some poses wrong, most of the time in a traditional setting, whether it's hatha yoga, ashtanga, or even yin style, it's about the teacher coming and correcting you. It's about instructing you to do it in a certain way, rather than observing, creating that power or ability for you to observe yourself, observe your own alignment, and then you can choose if you want to close your eyes in shavasana, or you want to keep your eyes open. This is the choice, rather than saying, okay, now it's time to close your eyes, and everyone tries to close their eyes. Some people can't close their eyes, and as the teacher walks by, they try hard to keep their eyes closed. I've seen this so many times in my own teaching sessions. So this is a way of like forcefully trying to relax somebody, helping someone to relax. And this is what I believed as well. When I started, I was thinking that I am helping people to relax, but actually it's actually making them more nervous, more stressed and anxious, even in shavasana. So the best approach, the trauma-informed approach, is more about invitation, about creating that space, or inviting students, inviting yourself to become more aware of your somatics that is at play in every asana, in every action, in every movement that you do. So this is the difference between a traditional style of yoga and more of a modern neurobiology, neuroscience infused trauma-informed approach. I hope I have answered that question. Just we'll spend another 5 to 10 minutes. If you have any more questions, please feel free to, in the chat box or in the comments. I would love to answer them all in this live before we close in another 5 to 10 minutes. So if you get into, okay. So beyond Kelly, yes, thank you for the question. So I'll just get the notes for that, because Kelly's asking where does the extra hours come from beyond the 3 live sessions. So we have 3 live sessions during the week. So there'll be 2 asana practices, 90 minutes, and 1 lecture, 90 minutes. So this adds up to about 54 hours of practice, 54 hours of live contact hours. And there's going to be 30 hours of self-practice or sadhana practice. So there's going to be personal feedback as well. It's not about correcting or instructing you to do poses perfectly, but giving you suggestions to do things maybe in a different way, giving that guidance from the teachers. So there's going to be 30 hours of that across 3 months. There's going to be a pre-recorded video library of different practices, somatic practices, pranayama practices, meditation practices, anatomy, cueing and sequencing, trauma-informed methodology, and self-paced study. So that's going to come to about 40 hours. So that is going to be the bulk of it. And then there's going to be the teaching methodology and the practical labs. So how to plan your lessons for different nervous system states, how to plan like a 60-minute flow and how to sequence that for different nervous system states. So because this is a trauma-informed approach, we are going to go through those different nervous system states and what kind of asanas, what kind of sequencing is best for certain nervous system state, and how to do that in a collective setting as well. So there's going to be that's going to be about 35 hours. And the anatomy and physiology, trauma-informed, about the fascia, nervous system, muscles, skeletal system, all that is going to add up to about 15 hours. And then there's going to be personal feedback, integration, personal one-on-one choice for regulating your own or any questions, live Q&A sessions, one-on-one and collective, which is going to add up to about 10 hours. And then there's the final assessment, which is going to be an oral assessment as well as a practical assessment, which is going to add up to about 10 hours. And then there's a community engagement and reading, which is going to be about 5 to 6 hours. So altogether, it comes to about 200 hours. Is that clear, Kelly? Or do you want me to explain anything more? I will email you the schedule as well. So yeah, if you don't complete it within 3 months, yes, obviously you can carry on beyond, but you need to complete it within 1 year. That would be the requirement. So you have all the sessions, all the pre-recorded sessions, and if you miss out on some sessions in this cohort, you can always catch up in the live sessions in the coming next cohort within this 1 year period. Yeah, so you can complete it. You can complete it within 3 months and get certified within 3 months, or you can take your time and complete it within 1 year and do your final assessments within 1 year and get the certification by then. It's up to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what we are focusing with this cohort is there's going to be Hatha and Ashtanga focus, but there's also going to be other somatic practices that you can incorporate into your own teaching, into your own lifestyle. Some of them, it's not for, there won't be teaching methodology for that. It's more of a practice for yourself, but there's no reason why you cannot infuse those teachings into your own sessions or into how you guide others. So there's going to be a whole library of that released every week over these 3 months. Different practices, from pranayamas to yoga nidras to different body-based somatic movement practices, apart from the traditional asana practice and the pranayama practices and the kriya yoga practices. So we are still nurturing the roots of yoga, which is crucial, which is really important, but we are also honoring and infusing the modern day understanding of neuroscience and neurobiology for a more trauma-informed approach to practicing yoga, and also to impact your students from that kind of understanding. Any more questions? We'll just wrap up in a few minutes. Yeah, all the sessions will be pre-recorded, and you have your own online portal. So everyone will get a login ID for that portal, and all the sessions will be under different weeks. So each week will be titled with the dates and what we covered and things like that. And there's also going to be a catalog of different somatic practices and different philosophies and different things that is going to be released every week as well, which is going to be a different section within that catalog or within the online portal. You will get all the details on the 14th, before the 14th of November, which is going to be the orientation day. And then the first session is going to be on the Sunday, which is the 16th. And then the asana classes are going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The Indian time is 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's going to be 90 minutes. It's not going to be a whole flow, like I said. It's going to be structured and defined. So one week, if it's going to be Hatha Yoga, next week, we're going to focus on Ashtanga style. And it's not, even if you're coming from injury, or if you have different body ailments, or if you have any discomfort in doing these asana practices, there is going to be modifications and easier versions for you to adapt and practice on your own. So it's not like you have to force yourself to do it, according to the textbooks. That's not the rule. So anyone can participate, anyone can join. You don't have to be an advanced practitioner to do this course. So that's it, I think. If you have any more questions, please feel free to email me at hinterlandvillage@gmail.com. And I look forward to seeing lots of you in this November 14th cohort. It's a beautiful moment, I think. This time of the year is a very powerful time, not only astrologically with the full moon and the energetic vibrations in the universe to start something new, to start nurturing your personality, your inner self, but it's also a powerful time for the world to really bring that peace, that spaciousness, and collectively raise our vibration in a way that we are not getting caught up in all this pressure and all the stresses and all this chaos that's unfolding each and every day, which is only adding up to more stress and more anxiety and more trauma within ourselves. So this is really the moment. Like I said before, we just got this moment. We don't have the past anymore. We don't have the future yet. But to create that future, we might have to release some of the conditionings, some of the stored memories from our body, from our mind, from our spirit, and heal ourselves, heal that inner self, inner child that that is still there with ourselves, that hidden parts of ourselves, and really transform our life. And this can happen within 3 months. By early next year, you will not only have found ways to regulate your nervous system, but also have found a new skill, also have the ability to impact the world in such a way that it really transforms and transpires into generations to come. And that's the power that we have in this time, because life is a blessing, each moment is a gift. So this is the best opportunity, I think, that what I would feel right now for myself and for the students who are already enrolled. So I wish that you all can enroll and join this next cohort. I look forward to meeting all of you on Friday, on the 14th of November. Thank you. Blessings. Have a beautiful evening. Have a beautiful day wherever you are. Take care. Keep it safe. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Amar. Safe travels. Look forward to meeting you again, seeing you in this cohort.